Coming up on Network Africa. Transparency International says corruption in the military is weakening Nigeria's efforts to battle Boko Haram militants. 3 pro-government youth die in a grenade explosion in the Burundian capital, Bujumbura. And a trendy cafe in the heart of Cairo is attracting biking enthusiasts from across Egypt. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Joke Rogers. International anti-corruption body Transparency International says military graft is weakening Nigeria's efforts to effectively battle the terrorist group Boko Haram. In a statement, the agency says that President Muhammadu Buhari's promise to tackle corruption and terrorism is being hampered by lack of transparency in military contract awards. It adds, quote, corrupt military officials have been able to benefit from the conflict through the creation of fake defense contracts, the proceeds of which are often laundered abroad in the UK, the US and elsewhere. This, it says, makes it difficult for the military to acquire the required equipment and training to take on the militants who are armed with sophisticated weapons. Now, the group is therefore asking the government to make its defense budget and procurement systems more transparent. Meanwhile, it's not clear what period the Transparency International observation covers, as the present administration had before now said that about $15 billion was stolen through dubious arms deals under the last government. But perhaps this informed the response by the military to the allegation by Transparency International, which has described the claims as false. According to the spokesman of Defense Headquarters, Major General John Eneche, the issue of corruption cannot be traced to the current group of military officers. He adds that under the Buhari administration, the troops are getting the required training and equipment. Well, we're still taking a look at counter-terrorism. China in 2014 provided Nigeria with warplanes and weapons to fight the terror group Boko Haram in northeast Nigeria. A delegation from the China-Africa Friendship Group is back in the country, this time to find new ways of further assistance to the country. Our Foreign Affairs correspondent Amarachi Ubani reports.
The delegation is part of the Chinese-African Friendship, a group aimed at fostering relations between Nigeria and China. Though a victim of terrorist attacks itself due to its proximity with Pakistan, China's counter-terrorism policy has contained terrorist activities on its soil. It hopes to use that experience to help Nigeria. But, according to the Consul General, Charles Yaoling, one must also deal with the remote causes of terrorism.
We need to adopt a comprehensive approach to address the root cause as well as symptom of this scourge. Terrorism is the result of complex array of political, economic, and social factors. It cannot be resolved by military means alone.
Members of the diplomatic corps, security and financial experts in this gathering at the Bolitac Center for International Diplomacy and Strategic Studies regret that Nigeria applied only military strategy at the start of its fight against Boko Haram.
The terrorists have one ideology. Ideology is not one that you can fight with AK-47. Ideology is not one that will go to the battle, all right, to fight. It is more complex than that.
Money that are laundered are used to finance terrorist activities. Legitimate funds are used to finance terrorist activity. So one of the things that I want us to take away from this is to identify the sources of funding of terrorist organizations. If we can 90% identify the sources of funding, and we're able to cut or block these sources, we will have a great dominion over terrorist activities in the region.
We must sustain the current military effort at the current levels for the next 24 months. We must win and win decisively. That is my contention. We must sustain it.
While China has partnered Nigeria on several infrastructure projects, it has also proven an ally in the fight against the Boko Haram by providing weapons and equipment to the army when the United States and Britain fell short. Amarachi Ubani, Channels Television News.
In East Africa, 3 members of the feared youth wing of Burundi's ruling party have been killed in a grenade explosion in the capital, Bujumbura. Police, however, say the perpetrator of the attack is not yet known. It's unclear whether the explosion is as a result of an external attack or an accident. Critics accuse the youth of being a militia group which has used violence against opponents of President Pierre Nkurunziza as the ruling CNDD-FDD party. The explosion happened yesterday evening in a house in Musaga district, described by residents as a neighborhood headquarters for the youth wing. At least 439 people were killed and 240,000 fled to neighboring states after unrest broke out in 2015 over Mr. Nkurunziza's decision to extend his 10-year deal. Long queues have been forming in parts of Uganda's capital, Kampala, ahead of tomorrow's deadline to verify mobile SIM cards. Hundreds are gathered at the Kololo Independence Ground and Nakawa Urban Council headquarters, where ID registration has been ongoing. In April, the Ugandan Police and Communications Commission issued a 7-day ultimatum for Ugandans to verify their SIM cards using their national ID details as a measure of fighting crime in the country. After a huge outcry, this deadline was extended for a month. Some of the telecommunication companies have already started deactivating cards, and people have been venting their frustration via social media. If government goes ahead with the planned deactivation of the SIM cards, over 10 million phone subscribers risk being switched off tomorrow. That's about half the number of people who own mobile phones.